I have just finished month 6 of relearning my native language. 6 months is a really nice milestone. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what I have accomplished, what I haven't accomplished, and what's next. For the past 6 months, I have worked between probably 1 to 4 hours a day on my Polish. I am officially mid A2, which is like an advanced beginner. So first off, I have learned a lot. Especially in vocabulary, I've probably learned between 3,000 to 4,000 active words, which is a lot for 6 months. My vocabulary is actually probably closer to an intermediate student, but my grammar is still a hot mess. So the first thing I didn't accomplish was my weird kind of personal internal goal that I never really stated, but I had hoped for, which was to get to a low intermediate in 6 months. In retrospect, it was totally arbitrary and I shouldn't have set a level-based goal because I never set level-based goals with any of my languages. And so I'm a little disappointed, but also I learned a lot. And so I would say overall I'm feeling pretty good about my level. The next big thing I accomplished was obviously speaking to my grandparents. That was my biggest first goal. I had 5 months to do it and I did it. Now the conversations weren't as long or as smooth as I would have hoped, but I can still have a semi-intelligible conversation in Polish. I am now working with 3 awesome online tutors, and with 2 of them, all we're doing is talking. I'm able to have some very bad but very fun conversations in Polish, as long as the other person is incredibly patient and as long as they speak some English. But that feels really good. Now, the next thing I didn't accomplish is that I didn't get as far with my beginner resources as I wanted, because obviously I haven't gotten out of the beginner levels yet. By this point, I was hoping to finish the Krok po Kroku books, which honestly are the best resources in Polish. I highly, highly recommend them. And I'm about 3/5 done with them, but that's okay because they're really fun to do. I know everything in the beginning of the book down pat, and I've been keeping up with the workbook too. Now, part of why I was able to do these largely myself was because of 2 different apps. One is Michelle Thomas, the other was Mango. I did finish Michelle Thomas, and it's my all-time favorite language learning resource that somebody else has made. I do like to make my own. I like to work with Anki. I like to do journaling. I like to do Immersion. But Michelle Thomas pre-explained to me a lot of the tricky topics in here in a way that I loved. And then I would follow up with the books and learn it in a more profound and more usable way. Mango saved me a couple of nights where I really needed to study, but I was brain dead. It's similar to Pimsleur in certain ways, but a lot better. I find the Pimsleur audio courses really old-timey, really conservative, not that useful, whereas Mango is just holding your hand through a lot of different sentences. And with that, you can kind of figure out the logic of certain things. I haven't finished Mango yet though because it is so fast. It's like in A1 trying to get me on the locative case, which I haven't hit yet in my books. And unlike Michelle Thomas, which I found really helpful to do before a textbook, Mango is a better follow-up. So I did like those both. But then I also thought I would get through all of these books. Honestly, complete Polish, and you can see my trackers in here. The Teach Yourself Complete Polish, trash. Absolutely frustrating. If you've gotten frustrated with a Teach Yourself something book and you thought that was your fault, it's not. The explanations are stupidly fast. There is almost no way to practice what you're learning. There's almost no exercises, and the samples and explanations are like inadequate. I also was recommended these Hurrah books by a teacher, and these are really fun if you're working with a teacher. There's a lot of reading and like group work in here, but for a solo learner, not great. So I bought them, but I didn't get very far. The last thing I used was the Polski Daily subscription. I liked it. I thought it was really helpful for certain things. And she has a million exercises on her website. But for the A-level stuff, I thought it was a little advanced. My printer's not working. It's better if you can print it out and you have it in a big folder somewhere and you can kind of go through a lot of them. So I haven't used it as much as I wanted, and I'm not sure I'm going to maintain that subscription, although her podcast is magnificent and I might one day take classes with her. The next thing I failed to do was start reading graded readers. I'm obsessed with graded readers. I have some recommendations on my website for French and Spanish. I loved them in Portuguese. I wish I had had them in Catalan, but in Polish, they all look really bad on Amazon. So I've been big time procrastinating on starting that. Also, reading and writing, the only things I couldn't do as a kid. So they've been mega intimidating, but I will be starting that this month. But one thing I did do, which I'm really proud of, is even though I maybe didn't get very far with the resources that I was like hoping to learn from, I annihilated every single intermediate Polish podcast on Spotify. I have listened to every single episode of all of them, and some of the episodes multiple times. I mean, there's just like moment where I'm between being able to understand the advanced native stuff, but then also have finished all the intermediate resources. Same for YouTube. I've just decimated Easy Polish and some of the other cooler YouTube channels that I really liked. So my at-home immersion is going well. I'm running out of stuff in that way. But the good news is that I have also found a ton of great content on Netflix, on Amazon, on various sites. And I found out that I can totally understand cartoons on Netflix that have been dubbed into Polish, as long as they're for little kids, which makes sense. But movies and TV shows for adults are still a little hard. But that's okay, because I still have plenty of those to go forward. So what's next? I really want to reset my goals and reset how I'm thinking about Polish. So going forward, my big goals are going to be really similar like my goals in my other languages. I want to be able to have really rich conversations somewhat fluently, especially about the things I like art and politics and history and linguistics and stuff like that. But I also want to get a really great reading level in Polish. And reading in another language is way harder than speaking in another language. So those goals are really far off. In order to hype myself to get to those goals, I'm going to start with all of my beginner reading materials very, very soon and keep speaking with teachers. But like I said, that's a huge goal, and the progress is going to be a lot slower looking than it was from 0 to where I am now. So I'm going to continue with this series, but I'm not going to continue making monthly updates. It'll probably look more like every 3 to 4 months going forward, because it's still important to me to document this, but I'm just not going to have very much to say that would be really rich for y'all. So stay tuned. I can't wait to share with you what the next phase of relearning my native language looks like, because I can't wait to see what it looks like.